here with Michael, and we're here to discuss generational wealth. And we are going to specify specifically into investments. And he's going to tell us his story as to what he's investing in, why he's investing in it, and ultimately why he got into investing and how that's doing for him and his family with regards to building generational wealth for him. I'm going to ask him a series of questions, and then he will be able to tell us, his background and also what he plans to do towards the future. So, Michael, I'm just going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what kind of business do you come from?
It's an interesting question because I like to just say I like to smile. That's my favorite thing to do is just smile and keep positive. But from a business point of view, right now, currently, I work in business. So by trade, I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. I hold a master's degree and also PMP. So project management is kind of in that foray and currently working at banking. But that's the 9 to 5, which I use to pay the bills and keep the lights on. Right. But in terms of actually growing, because I do want freedom, I don't want to work till 65 as the system has told me it works. I chose investing as a way to basically get out of that 9 to 5 grind a lot earlier than most. And traditionally, I use every investment opportunity that's available to me. So I think real estate, stocks for certain, stocks, bonds, ETFs, and more recently, crypto are some of the easy ones that I typically get drawn towards helping me grow my investment portfolio.
Okay, that's great. Specifically in real estate, though, when did you start investing into real estate? When did that start for you?
My first property purchase was at 24. It was actually out of opportunity for my sister. She was going to school, and the idea came up about her renting to go to school. And being the kind of the father figure growing up for my family, I said, why not my sister rent? Better I purchase a property and have her rent it out to other kids to live with her. That was my idea. So because I'm a math guy in the background, I did some quick math and said, okay, the time the properties costed, this is 2010, a property in Niagara Falls, one of the Brock University, costs anywhere from $150 to $250K for a full house, detached and whatnot. So I did the math and I saw that rent was going for about $400 or $500 a room. So we purchased a home that had 4 bedrooms in it. And that after we did my math, I realized the mortgage carrying cost would be about $1,000 all in every month. And if you can get all 3 out of 4 rooms rented, that's more than enough to cover your carrying costs. And my sister could live for free instead. So that was my first actual investment, and I purchased that in 2010. And then since then, I kind of just been using that as an avenue to continue to generate cash flow and kind of look for that way of growing that portfolio, so to speak.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sure a lot of people will take a lot of that, what you said, and utilize that into growing their own portfolio. With regards to that property, do you still have it today?
I have a rule that you only sell real estate if you have to. And ideally, I've never sold a property after that one. But unfortunately, I did offload it about 3 years ago. But that was because I made a promise my sister I'd help her buy her first house. So I sold it to give her all the profits to buy herself a first house.
Oh, that's amazing.
But other than that, I've never sold a property ever since.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind me asking, approximately how many properties do you have in your investment portfolio?
6
today?
6 today.
And what is your newest investment?
The newest, last year, purchased 3 properties last year, 2021. Figured, well, the market's going to get hot, might as well get in. But there are 3 pre-construction units. One in Oakville, that was called North Oak, 2-bedroom condo. And now 2 recently in Calgary, a penthouse and a fully detached home. And that's what I think the properties are called East Hill and Dawson's Landing.
Okay. Oh, wow. So you decided to invest in a property, a pre-construction in Calgary. What made you decide to do that? Because we live in Toronto, the GTA area. There's lots of condos here to choose from. What made you think to go to Calgary? Have you been to Calgary before? Is there any history there?
I've been to Calgary once. I went for a wedding back in the days, but no, I don't know anything about Calgary too much. But really, to me, investments don't have borders. If it makes money, it makes sense. It's something to do. So when I saw that they made it real turnkey, i.e., it was drop money down, and the rest is taken care of. Even down to the risk taken out with the property. They had something called rental assurance. So that 2 years of guaranteed rent, if it doesn't, if it doesn't rent out, although I looked at that as a negative to me, even though it was shown as a positive, I looked at it as a negative that why are you offering me guaranteed rent if it's such a good investment, it should take care of itself. But at least it tells me then I have a good amount of runway for the market to catch up to itself, because everyone wants to buy when things are in a boom. I like to buy when things are in a bust, because at least that time when no one wants it, which is what Calgary's going through, no one wants to live in Calgary. The prices are down or equal to where they were 5 years ago. I saw the opportunity to be very great there. And the rest and the assurance that if there's no rent to cover me, then I felt more comfortable going that route.
Which leads to my next question. What do you plan on doing with that investment? Would you plan on selling it after? Approximately when is the closing, by the way, for that pre-construction as well?
So for the 2 in Calgary, I have one closing end of this year and one in 2024. My intentions for the most part are, like I said at the beginning, I don't ever plan on selling real estate. Okay. So if you own it, ideally I have 4 children and I can have one property go to each child, and down the line, that's kind of the hope. And the carrying costs hopefully be covered by the rent, and then any extra is, it can be used as cash flow. And ideally, if the equity does continue to grow, I can pull from it and use it for other investments.
Okay. Do you know approximately what you're looking for with return on your investment? Do you think you'd be able to not only just get back what you invested, but also make a 10%, 15%, 20% return? What do you think
I typically, when it comes to real estate, I don't like to think about selling it. Mm-hmm. But if I were to sell it, it would be at a stage where it's completely paid for. So ideally, I want again, the goal is to cover the carrying costs. So as long as I can come out cash flow positive or break even, that's a win to me. But in any investment, I usually look for a minimum 20% increase.
Which is great, because with this project, you are guaranteed rental income. There is property management going to be given to you so that you have peace of mind to take care of that. So with regards to purchasing a pre-construction in Calgary, a lot of the times they are guaranteeing you with your rental income and rental. So that's definitely a good place to start. My last question to you would be, what advice would you give to the younger generation or even the older generation, people that have not started an investment portfolio, don't know where to start, are kind of scared to make that move, especially now with the time being, the prices being so expensive? What is your words to them?
The saying that goes, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I think it's very important for folks to seek that knowledge out. I've seen people have lots of funds available to them, but because they have no direction, they used it in ways that probably wasn't the most beneficial to them in the long run. For example, like buying luxury goods or spending recklessly on items that actually has no value. I'd say is try to get focused as early on as possible. Right now, we think about here and now, which is how we should live. But I often, when I was a younger man, I thought about my future Michael. I said, will future Michael be happy for what you did today? So even right now, I'm thinking about 50-year-old Michael. Is he going to be happy with the sacrifices I'm making today so that he lives a much more natural life? And now that I'm 35, I look back and I say, oh, I just turned 36, forgive me. I look back at 20-year-old Mike and I say, thanks for making those moves. Because if I didn't make those moves then, I would be playing catch up right now. And as you can see in the market right now, it's a lot harder to get the ball rolling if you haven't got started yet. So I think it's natural to tell young people this: don't just think that here and now is what matters. It's the longevity of life. And don't get me wrong, I used to live fast and think I'm going to die young. And so, look, God's grace, I haven't died young. So if you do think you're going to live past a certain age, then live today like you will be here in 20 years, 10 years, 30 years, whatever number might be. So I'd say just pre-plan. Put aside some dollars. Like I've had simple saving rules along the way of my life, just at minimum. If you get $100, put away 50 cents. Force yourself to get used to a smaller amount, so therefore you don't get comfortable with a large amount too fast. And those little tricks along the way have helped me just to build a nice nest egg that if all goes well, I'll be done by 50. And I'm hoping for earlier, but for 50, won't have to work no more.
I agree with everything you said. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening and watching that will definitely learn from this. and be inspired to also do the same thing and start their investment portfolio.